Hi, I'm Erin McGuire, owner of Pure Light Wellness. Today I wanted to give you a little video about being hard on yourself. So I work with a lot of women that struggle with insecurities, that struggle with being very critical of themselves, being really hard on themselves. And, a lot of type A personalities that are like, I've got to do things perfectly, I've got to make these things happen, I've got to, take charge in my life. And that kind of attitude leads to being very hard on yourself. And Louise Hay said it, and I would second it, that whatever is going wrong, so to speak, in your life, or whatever aspect of your life that you wish was different than it was, whether it's you want to be in a relationship and you can't find your mate, or your finances are suffering, or your health isn't where you'd like it to be, or your weight isn't where you'd like it to be, whatever the issue is in your life that you don't yet have, any issue that you have can be solved with loving the self more deeply. And that seems very general, like it's thrown around a lot out there. And so, what does that mean, and how does one get from point A to point B? But basically what I want to say to that is that instead of focusing on the external situation, such as getting that relationship, making more money, losing the weight, put that out there, put that out to the universe, have your goals, that's what you're going for, but make your work about learning how to love yourself and learning how to be less critical. One thing I like to point out, so let me just move this for a second. So this is a picture of me when I was little. Why am I showing you a picture of me when I was little? Well, I think everybody should have a picture of themselves when they're little, somewhere that they take a look at that several times throughout their week. Because we all have this little child within us. And that little child is the one that's getting berated when we're being very critical or hard on ourselves. So the work that I do with women and men, but particularly women and young girls, is to help them overcome these feelings of being not good enough, being hard on themselves, by going back and one of the ways I do this is by going back and healing, reparenting ourselves and healing the aspect of the inner child. When I started doing that work, I had been doing a lot of different work, other types of work as well, but I really started to see a shift in myself when I went back and started working on and healing the inner child. Because if we grew up in any kind of traumatic environment, whether you grew up with a parent who is an addict of some sort, or your parents got divorced, or one of them was, physically or mentally or verbally abusive, or whatever the case may be, that little child within never really got the love, the unconditional love that they needed, and therefore it's a bit scarred. And then it leads you to be an adult that has this very skewed reality when it comes to relationships. So in my personal opinion, as somebody who did experience some of those things growing up, it really made me not very good to be in a relationship with, and kind of like chaotic and all over the place, and very insecure, and very much feeling not good enough because of what I had been through. And I didn't know how to love myself. That was not part of my program. It's not what I had been taught. I was more taught how to be very critical of myself, and so I became very critical. And so one thing I really recommend doing is to get in touch with that inner child. I have another video that I'll post a link to under this, where it's an inner child meditation. But for this video, I'd like you to just pull out that picture of you when you're a child, and just take a moment to just look at that picture and to feel some sort of connection, maybe again, to yourself when you were younger. And just take a moment to maybe close your eyes and ask yourself, your inner child, what would you like to do today? How can I make you happy? Just like you would your own children. or just like you would, if you don't have children, like you would your favorite niece or nephew or your friend's child. What kind of love can you show that child that you show the children around you in your current life? That's the kind of way you want to be. You want to be taking on this inner child work, is to really love and appreciate that little child within. Once you start doing that and you start building that bond and that connection again, that inner child is like your soul in a lot of ways. It's the playfulness. It's the freeness that we want. As adults, we kind of get away from that. We get away from playing. We get away from feeling free. We feel very bogged down by mortgages and children and jobs and society and all that kind of stuff. And we're so far away from our inner child nature that life just becomes this routine, and then we end up, needing different substances to kind of keep us, feeling like we get to enjoy life. So when you do this kind of work, it really helps to bring out the fun in you again. So 2 things I want you to do. Like I said, I want you to look at your picture and ask that inner child, what is it that you could do for them? And if no answer comes, don't worry. Just use your imagination. Just pretend, or maybe just come up with an idea of something that you could do for your inner child that day. And your second thing is I want you to get out and play. I want you to find something that feels like play. Maybe write a list of up to 5 things that you can do in a moment's notice, whether it's like to dance around like a crazy person, or go swing on a swing set just to be like absolutely ridiculous. Whatever it is for you, I want you to make a list, and then I want you to try to incorporate at the very least 3 times a week, some sort of random act of play. And let me know below what that is that you ended up doing, because I'd love to hear, and how that made you feel. Now, the key is when you're doing that random act of play is that you're tuned into that inner child, and you're kind of saying to yourself, I'm doing this for you. This is going to be fun. We're going to do this together. The more we amp up the play and the joy, the more the criticism and the being hard on ourselves starts to go down. So if you find a moment where you're being pretty critical and hard on yourself, that's a great time to like switch the brain and go into play. Like, find something really fun to do in that moment. I'm telling you, as adults, we have a really hard time with this. So I want you to really make this your focus for the next few weeks, month, however long. Obviously, we want this to be ongoing forever, because play needs to be infused back into your life. So get out there and have some fun, and let me know below how it goes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Also, one last thing, I want to let you know that I do have a 40 Days of Radical Self-Love program, where you get an email every single day from me for 40 days to help build the habit of self-love. So there's different exercises that you'll do. It's a pay what you can program. So the lowest price is $25, and you have it for 40 days. And by the way, you have it forever, because it goes into your inbox. You can do it as many times as you want. So check that out. I'll leave a link below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.